Welcome to the Smart Show, Small Medium Advertisers Road Trip. And today we're going to talk about the integration of traditional and digital advertising. And this is really a roadmap for small advertisers. This is not something that we're going to be talking about as far as bringing in McDonald's or somebody like that. This is for small advertisers. We're going to show through two big brands, Progressive and Geico, on how they are integrating, and we're going to go through that process and give you some good ideas if you own a small business.
Yeah, definitely some heavy hitters when it comes down to the media giants for sure, and they're actually using all the proper channels in the digital scope as well, so it's going to be a fun conversation.
So there are three things that we noticed on these commercials, and we're going to take a look at them. But first, they're personality-driven, heavily driven personality. You've got Geico with the gecko, the caveman, and more recently, the camel, right? When you watch those commercials, they only use really the insurance slogans 2 times in the entire commercial, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or whatever it is. In Progressive's case, they have a personality, a strong personality flow, and she has several people around her, and they talk about things other than what's going on with insurance, and they just use a slogan. Do you think that that hurts the brand at all when you integrate those two and you look at those two companies, meaning that if there is somebody watching that commercial, they may not know that that's a Geico commercial or a Progressive commercial because it's so heavily personality-based?
Well, I mean, when you're looking at building your brand and you use influencers, create your own influencers in the way Geico and Progressive has. I mean, nobody knew about Flo before Progressive introduced her. Nobody knew about Hump Day and the Camel until Geico introduced that brand, and the gecko for that matter. But one of the things that you do possibly consider is maybe a little desensitization in the brand, in that the users and the consumer base out there, they remember the commercials, but the brands kind of get blended until it's time for the recall. But it's a wonderful, heavy opportunity for them to kind of get their name and resonate. If you look at Geico, the thing that you remember is kind of a funny commercial. You remember the brand. You remember maybe the gecko or the camel or the caveman.
And they did a caveman series years ago, didn't they? They tried that, and that didn't work out too well, did it?
Yeah, but you try to push the envelopes. But the other thing that they want to resonate is that they can save 15%. And I think every consumer understands that Geico save 15%, tagged with something in the brand about being humorous or memorable.
Well, let's take a look at that commercial right now. We'll take a look at the latest commercial.
I want it.
I can't believe it.
That car brought his karaoke machine.
Nothing but a heartache.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Tell me why I never you'd say.
No, Kevin. No, Kevin. No.
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
If you like this video, please share it. And if you want to see more unbelievable Geico videos, just press the subscribe button.
All right, so that Geico commercial was extremely funny. Karaoke, and it looked like, the North Pole or something. And it was a great commercial, great creative. Cost a lot of money, is my guess. Same thing with Progressive. To have this kind of talent to do what they're doing, it costs quite a bit of money. But again, twice in the commercial, they referred to the slogan, and that's it.
Yeah, simply, I mean, out of that commercial, it makes you kind of want to run out of the studio the way that gentleman was singing. But interesting to note, they have the mass media TV commercial, 30-second spot or 60-second spot. But if you watch the one on YouTube, they integrate and they go long form so they can engage their users a little bit differently, talking directly to them more about their message, asking them to get engaged with their brand, which they can't do on a television commercial.
Right. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next segment. Now we'll go to the Progressive commercial, Secret Life of Pets. It's terrific. Watch this.
Get it! Get that butterfly!
You know those butterflies aren't actually in the room.
Hey, that baker lady's on TV again.
She's not a baker. She wears that apron to sell insurance. Nobody knows why.
She's the Progressive Insurance Lady. They cover pets if your owner gets into a car accident.
Covers us with what?
You got me.
Ugh, she's an insurance lady.
And I suppose this baker sells insurance too?
Progressive protects your pets like you do. You can see The Secret Life of Pets 2 only in theaters.
So that was a terrific commercial.
Yeah, I mean, Progressive really nailed it with this one. They have cross-branded promotion with a hot film that's out. They educated the consumers that they can make sure that their pets are insured, which
I didn't know that.
We all love our pets, so
Yeah.
you know when it comes down to that, that's fantastic. I wasn't aware of it either, and it's great awareness. But again, you know they have two big brands and a lot of resources involved in making that commercial.
Yeah, these two companies really know what to do on the creative side. Question is, does that overcome the brand of each of those companies? What do you think?
Well, you know, when you have a lot of things going on, what you do, you have the pets commercial, you have Progressive in there, you have a lot of mixed communication. You know, even if you've seen that, they even talked about Flo with an apron on, and they're not sure why. So they actually make a little bit of jovial fun in regards to themselves and their brand and how things work. But at the end of the day, I think the message got clearly across that Progressive has pet insurance when they're driving the cars, and that resonates with people.
Very well. Very well. All right, Jeff, let's talk about the integration of traditional and digital, what they're doing here. They've got their traditional television commercials, and they're driving people to their digital YouTube channels, and they are asking for subscribers, and they've got a lot of subscribers. In this case, Geico has 1.4 million subscribers on their YouTube channel. Progressive, still great, 20,000 followers on their YouTube channel. And they're driving a tremendous amount of views, 80 to 90 million in some cases for Geico, and 5 to 10,000 views and 30 to 40,000 views with Progressive. So they really are doing a very good job in integrating their traditional media plan with their digital media plan. How does that work as far as a marketer is concerned to not only drive viewers, but how do you drive sales in that case?
You know, that's a good question. I think when it comes down to it is, everybody's how do you drive sales or measure sales or provide an ROI? In this type of brand, I mean, these are brand building techniques. So it's a little bit different. You don't see, call us to buy insurance right away. You don't see the direct call to action in these commercials. They're resonating their brand. So when there's a need, there's a recall. If you look at the buyer's journey, they do a great job on the awareness side of things, generating the interest in the consideration aspect, and then finishing out is the convergent and retaining aspects of the buyer's journey. Now, what Geico and them do is the awareness is great, the interest is great, but then they drive you to the digital side of things where they can measure more as well. So some of the competitions that they're doing, their sweepstakes that they're doing are amazing, but that actually takes them from the consideration process to helping them make a conversion and then retention of their brand in the buyer's journey.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in this case, people can actually become fans of one or the other. You become a fan of the caveman. Hey, I want to be in the caveman's world, so I'm going to go buy Geico. Well, I like Flo, I like what she's doing, I like all this, the karaoke and all this. I'm going to go buy Progressive. So you're actually building a fandom in those two brands, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how many people remember Hump Day. It's something that resonates with everybody, that Wednesday commercial with Geico. And it's amazing the amount of research and polling and data that goes behind how they separate their brand between choosing Flo or choosing a character like Geico.
And Flo's a comedian.
Yes.
So, she does well with that part.
Exactly. And then, also understanding, I think we mentioned earlier about like desensitizing the brand as well. Let's face it, insurance is usually some type of trigger action, some type of insurance. You need to have insurance. So, and then you usually only kind of remember the brand when all of a sudden you got to make a claim or something happens, who you're with and what you're doing. You know, it's not too often that you're, first thing you're doing is going online and checking out what's going on with Geico or Progressive. But if there's an accident or an incident, you want to be making sure that you're engaged now into a process. And they do a great job of resonating their brand.
And that's going to go to segment number 3 on this, and that is the contesting. Geico did a contest here where they invited people to vote for the best commercial. And I guess it was a random sweepstakes. And that got 17 million views on that best of. And the person that won actually was in the commercial. So the contesting is also a big part of this marketing that these guys are doing. And that's what's driving their digital brand, I would assume. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at it, the model that they have is they have owned assets. They've paid to build brands around these assets themselves, and now they have created what they call this earned media. You take a look at 17 million people got engaged in voting for the best commercial for Geico. Those were all built on the brands that they spent a lot of time, energy, and effort to build. But just the engagement at that level, and now they're taking it to the next level online by making a user or a customer be part of their commercials. So which is a fantastic, a brilliant idea. And that's what the digital can allow you to do. You cannot get that in a traditional media landscape, but you can extend that brand experience in the digital marketplace. So it's fantastic. It's really good.
Yeah, it is. It's a great example on how you can use those brands and use them in traditional, digital, contesting, all the things that wrap around getting a tremendous amount of engagement. So let's go to the last part of what we're talking about today, and that's the small advertiser. You own, 2 or 3 furniture stores, or you own a small insurance company, or you own a clothing store. How do you take this example and use that to market your own brand in a local market like Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville?
Well, you have to understand your own ecosystem when it comes down to marketing. You don't have probably the budgets that Geico and Progressive have to do the things that they do. But what you do have is you have your brand, and you have your customers, you have your fandom, and you have to just kind of figure out a way to get them engaged with your brand and be a part of your experience. And that could be excellent customer service and responding to someone who sends you a Facebook message. That could be out going to, engage in reviews and testimonials. So there's lots of different ways you can extend your brand across all these platforms in your business's ecosystem. You can learn from what these larger companies are doing, but actually, make it work for what your company is and what your budget is.
Yep. And you hire experts in this field to help you with that. You shouldn't try to experiment with this, because then you'll be wasting a lot of money with experimental.
Yeah.
As opposed to having an expert come in and put your plan together for you.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of times when it comes down to, budgeting is they don't know what the budgets takes. And even just having a conversation with a professional, they can put you in line to make sure that you're heading down the right path.
Can you do this on a budget of, say, $50,000, an annual budget, media budget?
Certainly. I mean, you can build your own assets. You can have a marketing campaign. You can have resources that are available from you from a website, a landing page. You can drive, people to your brand using Google pay-per-click. There's a lot that you can do, especially in the digital world. You start talking mass marketing and national TV spots. That's probably not going to cut it. But there's no reason why you can't take your brand on a local cable channel, get some good production, and for that type of budget.
Video production and all.
Exactly.
Banner ads, the whole thing. Okay, very good. Well, I enjoyed it. That's our first take, and it's a great time, and I thank you for being here. And let's do it again.
Yeah, look forward to doing more.
All right.